Local news, national news, even feel-good news. Delivering the topics that are relevant to you.
That's why I listen to Joe. He covers it all.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
Well, it's not normally how we start the Joe Kelley Show, and we're starting a little bit late tonight because of the severe weather that we are continuing to keep an eye on, and we'll continue to bring you the latest information as we gather more information. And as the storms continue to unfold, we're going to have all the headlines that you missed while you're at work today. That'll be coming up in our next segment, so stick around for that. We're going to have the latest on the war that is taking place in Israel and Hamas. But I think we're going to try to add a few other things to the conversation here tonight as well. There's a lot of other stuff that is going on that I think is worth some level of attention, and some stuff that I think is going to be of interest to you. But I do want to caution everybody to just be really mindful, be really weather aware today for the rest of this afternoon into tonight, overnight tonight, and tomorrow. As we're going to be up all night here and keeping a close eye on the storms. We'll interrupt our programming in the event of severe storms in our listening area. So just make sure you keep your radio set, keep your, make sure your phone is turned on. You can turn on your notifications in the WDBO app. You can turn on notifications for news, weather, and traffic. There's 3 different settings for that in the WDBO app. So make sure you've got your weather notifications turned on. Make sure your volume is turned on. That way we're able to send you an alert and let you know when we have severe storms. As you heard perhaps Tom Terry say, not perhaps he said it, perhaps you heard it. He did say it. But as Tom said, we could see some severe storms, 2, 3 a.m., when people are desperately trying to get some sleep. So just be mindful. It might be a difficult night of sleep tonight for some people as we're going to see some of these really, really strong storms. And just looking at the WDBO Interactive radar at this hour, there are widespread storms all across Central Florida right now. And this isn't just a rain shower. These are little bands that are popping up, and some of them are building in intensity. Some of them are decreasing in intensity. In fact, the tornado warning that was in Brevard County has now been dropped as well, as Brevard County's storm cell is weakening as we speak. We're seeing some more shower activity coming up from the south. If you're in Kissimmee, if you're out at the Magic Kingdom, if you're at any of the Disney properties, a pretty strong line of showers is coming through. Claremont, Ferndale, up to Zellwood, you're getting some pretty good shower activity. Down by Lake Wales, Fort Meade, Crooked Lake Park, and St. Cloud and Harmony is going to have some showers pretty soon here. Yeehaw Junction, of course. And we're seeing a combination of the sea breezes, which is a normal activity for us. But we've also got this system. There's a tropical-like system that is in the Gulf of Mexico right now, and that is what is causing these storms to be a little bit different than our normal garden variety afternoon sea breeze thunderstorms because of the tropical storm and the extra heat that we've had in the environment today. I don't know if you noticed, it was quite a bit warmer than it was for the last couple of days. If anybody's been sleeping with their windows open, as we have at the Kelley household, it was a bit warmer this morning when we woke up. And tonight, you'll definitely want to keep the windows closed. It's going to be warmer and rainier tonight for sure. Coming up next here on the Joe Kelley Show, we're going to have all the stories that you missed while you were at work today. Hang on, that is coming up next here on WDBO.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. Just clocked out? Let's rewind.
Yeah, we got a lot of stories that you likely missed if you're at the office all day today. We got this report in 6 hours ago from Israel News. A direct rocket hit reported on a school in southern Israel. And just in case you're wondering whether or not Hamas is still engaged in this terror attack. 6 hours ago, Gaza's only power station stopped working After the fuel needed for generating electricity ran out, the power plant's shutdown comes days after Israel ordered a complete siege on the Palestinian enclave. 6 hours ago, ABC News reported that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the opposition leader agreed to form an emergency unity government and a war management cabinet. 5 hours ago, ex-NFL player Sergio Brown arrested in San Diego weeks after his mother's death, presumably for his mother's death. 5 hours ago, The Hill reported that Republicans had killed a proposal to change the speaker nominating process. 4 hours ago, ABC News and WDBO reported that at least 22 Americans are now known to have died in the attacks in Israel. 4 hours ago, NBC News and WDBO reported that House Republicans have nominated Steve Scalise to be the next House Speaker. He now must get 217 votes on the floor of the United States House. 3 hours ago, Israel News reported that residents of Sderot have been asked to shelter in their homes due to a suspected terrorist infiltration in that southern city. So again, the siege from Hamas, the attack from Hamas is still ongoing. 1 hour ago, and Laurel, you and I have a mutual friend that is a pilot, and he texted me and said something's going on at the Baltimore airport because his flight was grounded, and they said that there was a security incident.
Uh-oh.
And now I know what it is. It was an hour ago. CNN reported that cops are investigating a threat at BWI Marshall Airport. That's Baltimore's main airport, after arresting a person who claimed to have a bomb in their parked vehicle. No word as to whether or not there was a bomb in his parked vehicle. And 46 minutes ago, I hate even saying these words out loud. It just pains me to say this. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says soldiers were beheaded and that women were raped and slaughtered in the Hamas militants' attack. I know that we already know that, but that has now been reconfirmed, if you will, by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And, you know, it feels weird to talk about issues other than what is going on in Israel right now. But I know that we serve a broad audience, and I know that there's a lot of other stuff going on, not the least of which is our chance for severe weather tonight. We've already, if you're just joining us, had our first tornado warning in Orange County even. So we're going to keep a close eye on the weather. We're going to keep you updated here throughout the night tonight. So keep your radio set right here on WDBO, and we'll keep you up to date here on The Joe Kelley Show. We'll continue coming up straight ahead.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and all of Central Florida. Join the conversation now by using the open mic in the WDBO app. Now, The Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's news and talk, WDBO.
Well, we've been cautioning you since last night that today was going to be a weather alert day today, and for good reason. And the expert meteorologists at Channel 9 Eyewitness News have been making sure that everybody is well aware that there could be severe storms today. And joining us right now is one of the aforementioned expert meteorologists. Channel 9 Eyewitness News meteorologist George Waldenberger is joining us live. And George, we had you and Tom on simulcasting at the top of the hour as we had a tornado warning that was in Orange and Brevard County. Do we have confirmation on that at this point?
So at this point, that tornado warning has been allowed to expire, but there are actually two funnel cloud reports associated with this. And the first one was actually what triggered the warning, Joe. This was from an off-duty National Weather Service employee that actually witnessed the funnel cloud. Lone Cabbage Fish Camp. Many of us know where this is. It's kind of a landmark on 520, just as you're crossing the St. Johns River, right? And so that was one of the funnel clouds reported with this. And then there was a second funnel cloud reported closer to I-95 in Brevard County. So that was the tornado warning that we're talking about. It moved into Brevard County out of Orange County. We're still tracking that storm, and it still has a potential of more, at least funnel clouds, maybe even additional tornado as it moves across Port St. John and then, Joe, across the Indian River Lagoon. So we could see water spouts as well.
And George, George, I was explaining to our listeners that this is not your garden variety afternoon sea breeze storms, but perhaps you could explain why this is different than our typical afternoon sea breeze storms.
Yeah, it's actually quite a complex setup. And remember that, Joe, autumn cool front we had a couple days ago?
Yes, that 1 or 2 days of cool weather.
It was great,
yes.
But it seems like you can't get great weather this time of year and not pay for it. So now we're kind of paying for it because that front settled into the south of us. It became stationary, and now it's drifting back to the north as a warm front. Add to that the system that we've been monitoring in the tropics. There was a low-pressure area in the Gulf. Ultimately didn't develop, but it's kind of merging with this front now, and it's helped dragging it back over central Florida to the north. And warm fronts are actually quite prolific severe weather producers, especially in the plains. They're one of several types of setups that can generate tornadoes. And we're kind of having our own with this warm front moving through. And the reason why that is, Joe, is because the winds change direction along or as you cross the warm front. They're more out of the south if you're south of the front, and they're more out of the east if you're north of the front. And so that change in wind can be enough to cause some of these storms to rotate. And once they rotate, then they can produce tornadoes as well.
And as you were mentioning on TV just a short time ago, this is a storm system that is, again, not just going to be an afternoon storm system. This could last well into the night and into the daytime tomorrow.
Yeah, and I appreciate you getting the news out and the word out that we're having a weather alert day today and tomorrow, but especially overnight. I really want everybody to have a way to receive warnings overnight tonight while they're sleeping. A great way is a WFTV weather app. Weather apps are a great way of getting an alert that can wake you up in the middle of the night. And if you do get that, and it can be a rude awakening, at least you know that there is that chance of storms. And then we will be watching things overnight. If there are any tornado warnings, you can turn on Channel 9, you can turn on WDBO right away, and we'll be simulcasting, and we'll be talking about where any of those warnings develop. Because, Joe, these warnings are scary in the middle of the night when you're sleeping and you get that wake-up call, right?
Yep.
They really are. So just realize that these are just a few isolated storms into the evening, and we're going to watch more likely overnight and tomorrow morning as well. So we'll likely still be in our severe weather mode in the morning as many people are getting on the roadways to work. So I also want you to check the weather, maybe allow a little extra time tomorrow morning before you head to work so you can check the radar and make sure your roads are not only traffic-free but also storm-free.
We are talking to Channel 9 Eyewitness News meteorologist George Waldenberger here on the Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. George, is there anything on the radar right now that's causing you heartburn, or are we? I know we got a lot of shower activity. You know,
interestingly enough, the same storm that produced the tornado warning in Orange County and moved into Brevard, we're still watching that storm. No warning with it. It's about to move right over the Indian River in northern Brevard County. So we're still watching that. And then also Lake County, near you, approaching Eustis. There's another kind of bizarre-looking storm there.
That was actually why I asked you. That's the one I was looking at, and I'm like, please mention the one over Tavares and heading to Eustis.
We're watching that, and we did notice a little bit of broad rotation. With a tornado warning, you generally look for more tight rotation, that tight couplet that can produce the tornado. Broad rotation would be more like a large scale, the whole thing maybe spinning maybe a little slowly. So we've seen the broad rotation with that storm. And if you look at the radar and you loop it in motion, you can see the storm is moving kind of it's not really moving with the flow. It's kind of
stationary.
Jogging. And it's a slight jog to the right. And so we're watching that one as well. If we do get any warnings with that, we'll let you know. But that one is approaching Eustis, Mount Dora areas, Lake Dora, and eventually farther north into Lake County.
All right, buddy. As always, thank you so very much. Channel 9 Eyewitness News meteorologist, weather scientist George Waldenberger joining us live here on WDBO. Thank you, George. We'll check in again with you a little bit later. It's 5:44 now. You're listening to the Joe Kelley Show. Of course, you can join us at 844-580-WDBO. You can use the open mic and the WDBO app. Laurel, I think we have an open mic about the weather. I think. I'm having a hard time understanding this open mic.
Every time you announce weather, man, I love you, but as a place, we're getting absolutely hammered with storms right now. Just don't forget us, Groveland. Man, love the show.
So Groveland was what I caught. Groveland.
The robot glitched.
That was weird. I've never heard an open mic that sounds like that before. And I don't know. How do we know it wasn't him? Maybe he has a stutter. That could have just been him.
I suppose, yes. And in that case, I'm sorry, and I take back but it sounded
right?
more like...
You're mocking the guy for poor guy's got a stutter, and you're making
more like
fun
a
of
tech
him.
issue.
Is that what you think?
I do, yes.
I would rather it be his stutter rather than something that we have to write a trouble ticket for.
Well...
Right? All right, it's 5:45, and we will continue with the Joe Kelley Show coming up straight ahead. Stay with us here on WDBO.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Talk and discussion on the latest breaking national news.
Crude oil prices continue to fall.
Local news.
You're not going to have Disney have its own government in Central Florida.
And stories that matter to you. Use the open mic in the WDBO app and let your voice be heard on the Joe Kelley Show.
We're following breaking news out of Celebration. If you're seeing police activity around the Publix, there on the Central Florida Greenway, there was a shooting in the parking lot at Publix there today. A 17-year-old was shot, and as is regrettably often the case, while the teenager is going to be okay, he's expected to survive, he is not cooperating with detectives and is refusing to reveal the shooter's name. So the no snitch culture is regrettably alive and well. Paul Cross, in that neck of the woods down there on the Central Florida Greenway, I think everybody knows where that Publix is, down in Celebration. And if we've got slow traffic in that area, that is going to be due to police activity related to that shooting.
Gotcha. And they're not talking. That's a real shocker, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's really regrettable because of the no snitch culture. And what is it? Snitches get stitches.
Snitches get stitches. Yeah.
So that is too bad. And most crime in our communities are what they call familiar crimes. That is, if you're going to get shot or stabbed, 9 times out of 10, you know the person who shot you or stabbed you. It is either going to be domestic, it's going to be a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, father, son, mother, daughter, father, daughter, you get the idea. Or it is going to be someone that you do transactions with that say a drug dealer. And something along those lines. Very, very rarely do we see genuine stranger crime, which would be just a random crime of somebody getting shot. And even if someone, like in that scenario at the Publix parking lot, if somebody else had been shot, that would have just been an innocent bystander. And in that scenario, that would have been a random crime. But in this particular case, the 17-year-old that was shot knew evidently the person who shot him and is refusing to name that individual. It's a shame that there is not a way to coerce them. Maybe that's not the right word. Convince them that it is in their best interest to cough up a name of some sort. And I understand that they might be jeopardizing their own health, future health, and the future health of their friends and family by snitching. But man, it's a crying shame to think that there's going to be some dude down there near Celebration that is willing to pull out a gun and shoot someone, and he's going to get away with it because this 17-year-old won't snitch, won't talk to the police about it. That is regrettable. I would imagine a lot of people that were trying to get into the Publix are doing so to buy lottery tickets. Laurel, I see that everybody in the chat group is talking about the Powerball, and the next drawing, Monday, Tuesday, is tonight, right?
It sure is, tonight at 11 o'clock.
And it's the second largest lottery jackpot?
Yeah, the second largest in history. It's at, let me see here, $1.7 billion, I believe. It's just under $2 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, second biggest ever. So it has been pulled. A winner has been pulled since July.
Do we need to remind everybody what the odds of winning are?
No, that takes away the fun.
So I think, and in all seriousness, I think they say that the odds are 1 in 392 million.
Yeah,
I think
that.
those are the odds. And
So the odds are 1 in 392 million that I will not show up for work tomorrow. Is that what you're saying?
So you're saying I have a chance?
Yeah. So you're saying I have a chance.
I have a chance. Yes, you have a chance. Slim as it may be. I don't know if you guys recall, but just a week or two ago, I shared with you a list of all the things that are more likely to happen than you winning the lottery. And my favorite of them was you're more likely to be eaten by a shark, not bitten by a shark. Well, actually, both are actually, you're more likely to have both of those happen. But when was the last time you heard of a shark eating a human? I don't know that I've ever heard of a shark outside of Jaws, of a shark eating a human. But you're more likely to be eaten by a shark. And I rarely go in the ocean. I'm still more likely to be eaten by a shark than winning the lottery. Okay, but I want to see a show of hands. How many of you, and this is for you guys in the car too, how many of you have tickets for tonight's Powerball jackpot? All right, Greg Rhodes has his hand up. Laurel, no?
I did for the last one and the one before this, but I just haven't, unless my husband did, I haven't bought any tickets for tonight.
See, I wish they were cumulative. I wish once you buy one, you're already in it.
Yeah.
You know, for the future drawings as well. But I guess that kind of defeats the purpose, and then the jackpot won't go up if your existing ticket.
Who needs the jackpot to go up when it's already $1.5 billion?
1.7.
Are you hanging on for that 2 number before you buy? We just had this conversation. It's
So, Paul, did you buy? Are you buying tickets?
I did not, but you're telling me I have a chance, so I may go after this.
I haven't been eaten by a shark yet, so I might as well play the lotto.
I may go buy the ticket while standing in the ocean in shark-infested waters at this point if it's going to help my chances. So.
And what is it about? We wait until it is, we're record-setting $1.7 billion before we finally say, okay, fine, I'll buy one.
See, that's silly. Because what's the difference between $500 million and $1.5 billion? It's still
what is the base number?
Amount of money.
What is the base number? What does it start at? Does anybody know off the top of their head? Hey, Google, what is the base number for Powerball winning? I don't know that I asked that question well.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
But I found something similar.
All right,
do you want to know what does 3X
So the Mega
Powerball?
Millions starts at $20 million and rolls over.
$20 million. So $20 million is still, that's a really great payday for most people. I mean,
that's life-altering.
Hey, Google, stop. Yeah, that is. That's life-altering for people. That is a whole lot of money. By the way, speaking about a whole lot of money, Disney's raising prices again, which is interesting because they're raising prices just a few months after Bob Iger admitted that they've been too aggressive in their price increases and that it's too expensive to go to the theme parks. The same Bob Iger who said the theme parks are too expensive is raising prices on the very same theme parks. We'll talk about that in the hour ahead. You can join us, use the open mic and the WDBO app, or call us at 844-580-WDBO.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, from the Bogan Munz & Munz WDBO Traffic Center. Auto accident? Choose Bogan Munz & Munz.
Well, just remember, if you're driving on the wet roads, just make sure you pace yourself for the car in front of you. We do have a crash I-4 eastbound before Parr Street. It's on the right shoulder there on kind of the medium where they have the exit ramp. So on the median, you have the police car and a couple of other cars. So just use caution there. Just stay in the left lanes as you pass Parr Street, I-4 eastbound. Got a crash on John Young Parkway at Columbia that right now has 2 left lanes closed. ProTech Air Conditioning and Plumbing Service for honesty, integrity, and 100% customer satisfaction. Call ProTech 407-291-1644 or visit protechac.com. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. In-depth segments on topics that matter to Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and all of Central Florida. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
I love your show every night. You're doing great, bud.
Joe, a thought experiment. The odds of Powerball, 1 in 292,200,000.
Okay.
So let's say if you had the means and the wherewithal and the silliness to buy that many tickets, how long would it take you to find the winning ticket, number one? And number two, when you found the winning ticket and you won, you would make $500 million off that investment for this drawing.
Yeah, I've gone cross-eyed. I have no idea. I can't even imagine. And now I feel like I'm going to be left out, that I have to go buy a lottery ticket tonight. But honestly, I never know how to buy a lottery ticket, short of going in and saying to the clerk at either Publix or 7-Eleven or whatever, and I say, hey, you know that thing that everybody's been talking about, that one lottery thing, whatever it is, can I get one of those tickets, and can you pick out the numbers for me? But experts evidently say that you have a better chance of winning if you pick your own numbers, which I don't understand that at all. I don't understand how if you pick your own numbers, and I wouldn't even begin to know what numbers to pick.
I thought it was completely opposite. I thought they said quick picks one more.
And quick picks is when it picks the numbers for you?
Yeah, it's random. Oh, now we're going to have to relook. Maybe the experts are changing their minds.
So what I'm seeing from a recent report is that there's a common misconception that the odds of winning differ whichever method that you do, and that's just not true. Your chances of winning are exactly the same either way.
That's what I would thought. That is what I thought. I mean, that's because it doesn't make any sense that picking your own numbers would give you better odds because it's still so remote. Your chance of winning. And then according to that open mic, I was off by 100 million to 1 in the odds. I said 1 in 392. It's 1. And now that he says that, yeah, it is 1 in 292 million dollars. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Powerball. We're also talking about there's been a shooting out in the parking lot at the Publix down there on the Greenway in Celebration, and Osceola County deputies are investigating it. But a 17-year-old is shot. He's expected to survive, and he is refusing to name the person who shot him. So the no snitch culture is regrettably alive and well, as is the teenager. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to say regrettably the teenager is alive and well. I'm glad he's alive and well, but regrettably he's not snitching. He's not cooperating with the deputies.
Joe, in cases like this, if they won't give up the person and they know the person, what you do is you apply the debt of the call to that person who refuses to snitch. You send them a bill for EMS. You send them the bill for response of the police. You send them a bill for fire. Anybody who responded?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but that would certainly require a big change at the state legislature level. That is not something that you can just say, hey, now you're going to have to owe all this money on this stuff. And let's be honest, if someone is involved in that kind of crime, that kind of activity in a parking lot at a grocery store, odds are pretty good that they're not going to have the money to be able to pay for those kinds of services anyway.
Are you telling me with all the cameras we have in this world, they didn't catch it on camera, especially in the Celebration area? Man, they got cameras everywhere. Publix, come on.
Yeah, no, I'm not telling you that it wasn't caught on camera. The Osceola deputies are certainly going to continue their investigation into this. But it would certainly be a lot easier for the Osceola County deputies to investigate this if the injured 17-year-old would simply identify the person who shot him.
The sad thing is about this no snitch culture thing is that while you may not be snitching out the individual that came after you the first time, nothing is going to stop them from coming after you the second time.
Yeah, right. Unless the idea behind the no snitch thing is so that the 17-year-old can retaliate against the other guy, and the 17-year-old doesn't want the other guy to go to jail so that the 17-year-old can retaliate against the guy that shot him. I mean, I would have to think that must come into the calculation there at some point as well.
What about doing some waterboarding or some old-fashioned torturing? Only kidding.
Yeah, we waterboard people who don't snitch.
The one who was shot is still the victim, right?
He
like
is.
You don't want to waterboard the victim.
Yeah, he is. But I think it's. I think it's safe to say Yeah, I think it's safe to say that they were probably both involved in some sort of illegal activity. Whether it's gang activity or drug activity or something. I find it to be improbable that the 17-year-old was simply going to Publix to pick up a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk. I mean, if
he's obviously there to buy a lottery ticket.
I mean, honestly, maybe he is. Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine if the 17-year-old had bought like a fistful of lottery tickets and that's why he got shot in the parking lot was to get his lottery tickets?
You never know nowadays.
Yeah. What do you think about people who give lottery tickets as gifts? Like scratch cards and stuff like that?
I think it's really cheap.
Oh, that's a shame.
Buy a ton of them.
That's a shame because I bought you some lottery tickets, Paul.
I believe it, and I'm just calling you out right now.
I'm going to give them all to Laurel now instead. I'm going to give Laurel your lottery tickets.
Yeah.
Here's $1. Could be worth $1 million.
I lived in Las Vegas for darn near a decade, and I can't tell you how many times people would say to me, I'd have relatives or whatever say to me, "Hey man, would you go down and bet $20 for me?" And I'm like, yeah, I'll go down and bet $20 for you.
You lost it, sorry.
Yeah, I bet it, and it's gone. It's a real shame. It's a crying shame what happened to your $20. Laurel, if I may ask a personal question, do you guys, you and your husband, still have annual passes for Disney?
Yes, we do. Mm-hmm.
So Disney announcing today that they're raising prices for their annual passes and for the parking, which, this just drives me batty on behalf of park goers that they're raising prices again. It was just in March of this year that Bob Iger said that they were too aggressive in their price increases and that the theme parks cost too much to get into.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I was looking at those pricing tiers, and it looks like it'll be more for people who are buying the annual passes, but those of us who've had the annual passes, it doesn't look like it's going up.
Don't you have to renew those at some point?
Yeah. I have to look better. I was like doing the math, and I'm like, this is what I'm paying right now. I don't understand how they're saying this is going up. But I did see like buying the passes. Like if I was tomorrow to go buy the passes, it'd be more.
So Bloomberg had this report, headline, Bob Iger found Disney in worse shape than he expected, now overwhelmed and exhausted. Bob Iger's heralded return to the Disney C-suite last year has not produced the rosy results investors had hoped for. An array of setbacks he's faced has left the 72-year-old executive overwhelmed and exhausted, even privately questioning why he returned. That, according to Bloomberg, Disney's stock is now down more than 9% since Iger took back the CEO title from Bob Chapek, who we like to call Bob Paycheck. Because he got a massive paycheck when he was dispatched, when he was sent out back in November. And there's an activist investor named Nelson Peltz who is once again rattling the cage and pushing for a seat on the company's board. Disney has lost just an epic ton of money on their streaming service, Disney Plus, which, by the way, they raised the prices on Disney Plus. Do you subscribe to that, Laurel?
Yeah, we do. Yep.
Because you watch Ahsoka and stuff like that.
Yeah, all the Star Wars
all
stuff.
the Star Wars things.
Yeah.
So my Disney Plus was up for a renewal, and it was $139 for the Disney Plus for the annual streaming service. Is that what yours is as well?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, and so and some people are like, well, get it through Verizon or get it through the Hulu package, and I guess you can get it cheaper through there, but just buying it straight Disney Plus, yeah, $140 a year.
Yeah, so I canceled it, and I'm still getting it because I prepaid. If you cancel mid-year, you don't get a refund of the prorated amounts. You just have to wait until your year runs out. So my year has not run out yet. Which, by the way, I finished Ahsoka. And I have lots of questions. And the thing that really gets me about Ahsoka, I'm sorry I'm getting off topic, but the thing that gets me about Ahsoka is that actor that I just think is brilliant in that show died. And that sucks.
Ray
Stevens?
Yep, something like that. He played Baylan Skoll in the series, yes.
I have no idea what his name is. Did you know that's the same guy that was in Thor, right?
Yeah. He was an incredible actor.
Yeah. But he was brilliant and evidently all around nice guy. But he died. He died after production of Ahsoka. How did he die? Like a heart attack or something?
Oh, I don't know. I looked it up a little while ago, and then I forgot.
So I don't know. I don't know if they would recast him and bring somebody in a different, bring in a different actor in.
Yeah, we were wondering that too, because they kind of let the character have this open-ended end, and I could see him just writing him out or them recasting. Somebody said that they could use Gerard Butler to recast him, which I could see.
Gerard Butler. Why can I not think of who that is?
Don't ask me to name roles he's played, because
is that the guy from 300?
It was 300, yeah.
Oh, okay. Gerard Butler. He's Scottish. Does that help if he has a Scottish accent?
I don't think it helps any way, shape, or form.
He's an actor. He may change that Scottish accent.
Right. He does do an American accent as well.
Ray Stevenson died of a heart attack following anaphylactic shock.
Anaphylactic shock.
Wow.
And what caused the anaphylactic shock?
Well, it doesn't say that here.
What about Mary Lou Retton being in the hospital with pneumonia on the brink of death? That is a bizarre story. Boy, we're all over the place. Honestly, we're watching the weather, and between the weather and Israel, I didn't do a whole lot of show prep tonight. So we're just we're going freestyle here tonight. So you guys can pipe in with anything you want.
I'm going to ask real quick, did you see the video that someone took from a train ride through Colorado? And they took the side of a hill as they were going, and there's Bigfoot?
Oh, I did see that.
I have it. I have to show you this in the chat room, and it is so funny because obviously, I mean, I don't believe in Bigfoot. It looked like a man in a suit, but it's like, what is he doing in the middle of nowhere as a train goes by and people are filming it going, what is that?
Yeah, and people are saying it's the clearest video yet of Bigfoot. Yet.
It's proof, definitive proof.
Well, I saw a map of the globe that shows of all the different Bigfoot type characters in every country. It's called something different in every country, but every country has this mythological creature that exists. It's the Yeti up in the Himalayas, but it's every country has
Sasquatch,
a version of
Bigfoot.
So yeah, I find that hard to believe.
844 he's in Colorado, so he's enjoying himself in Colorado, I guess, on vacation.
Well, the altitude there can really have an effect on people, I'm told.
And the legality of some things, too. So.
Yes. Heaven knows I had some problems with the altitude there. By the way, I know who everybody's sending me text messages of who Gerard Butler is. I know who he is. I just blanked on who that. I like him. He's a great actor. He's a really good actor. I like him, and I could see him. But would he have to grow a beard though?
Yeah, grow
have to have a beard for that character. I am rewatching now. I'm rewatching Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought that was a really good series on Disney Plus.
Yeah, Obi-Wan is
funny
great.
You said that. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm rewatching it.
So everybody was disappointed in Ahsoka. They didn't like the ending. If you weren't a big Rebels fan, it was kind of it wasn't that great. But between Andor and Obi-Wan, those are the two that everybody say are the absolute top tier for the Disney Star Wars series.
Well, I like the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. The third there's a third season, right?
Yeah. The third season came out.
I thought it was absurd. And then the whole book of Boba Fett, whatever that was, I couldn't watch that.
You are not alone in those opinions. I disagree, but the community of Star Wars that I'm surrounded with as a whole agrees with you.
Yeah.
I watched them all. I can't not watch them. It's like a hockey game when a fight breaks out. You can't turn away. I have to watch that stuff.
So you watched the book of Boba Fett and all that stuff?
I watched every single one of those series, and I really enjoyed them all because I just let myself go and kind of get into it. Life is tough already. If you just kind of let yourself be immersed with that kind of stuff, you can enjoy it. I didn't judge it too much.
So sidebar. So my wife and I just started watching The Chosen. Do you guys know what The Chosen is? This is not Star Wars related. So the Chosen is it is a crowdsourced, crowdfunded production that started out literally as an app. There was an app. I have the app called The Chosen, and it is the story of Jesus Christ. And they're in their 3rd or 4th season right now, and they actually got an exemption from the Writers and Actors Guild because they are not a Hollywood production. They are independently funded and produced, and it is It is, of course, based upon Scripture, but there's a lot of it that is not in Scripture, and obviously they have to take certain artistic license to be able to help you understand the just in fact, I'm reading Hebrews right now in the Bible, and Hebrews is blowing my mind at how hard it is to understand Hebrews. And so the thing I like about The Chosen is it really kind of helps you understand. It fills in the gaps, if you will, between what is in Scripture and what is not in Scripture. So I highly recommend it. And now The Chosen, by the way, now is on it's on Amazon. And in fact, I think it's running on FX. So it's on Amazon and FX, or I think I saw it on the CW even last night. So, but The Chosen is really good. It's really well done, really well acted. I'm liking it a whole lot. So don't anybody spoil it for me. All right, don't spoil the story of Jesus Christ for me. I don't want to have anybody ruin it for me. 6:23 will continue coming up.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. News, weather, traffic, all the things you want on your drive home. Plus, Joe Kelley being, well, Joe Kelley. Now, The Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's News and Talk, WDBO.
All right, we were sharing the video of the Bigfoot, the Colorado Bigfoot, in the chat group right now on the WDBO Facebook page. Do you believe that's Bigfoot, Paul? You think that's real?
100%. I'm now thoroughly convinced there's Bigfoot
really?
Sasquatch in the world. Oh,
wow.
Absolutely, yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
All right. So if you want to see that, just check it out. It's on the internet somewhere, I'm sure. Also today, I sent the drone up, the Joe Kelley, the drone 5,000 up today. I really wanted to get some of the weather as it was coming in. And instead, the weather really wasn't drone-worthy. There wasn't, an impressive storm coming in at the time. But I did spot another bald eagle. I think it's the same one that is taking up real estate on top of our tower here at the radio station. So if you want to be able to see the bald eagle video, which I promise you is a lot more real than the Bigfoot video, but you can check it out right now. It's on the WDBO Facebook page. But in fact, a second bald eagle came in and landed right next to the first bald eagle. But as fate would have it, at that very second in time, I was not recording. So I missed the second bald eagle as it was landing on our tower, which is just a real bummer. All right, we will continue. We're going to check in with Channel 9 Eyewitness News meteorologist Jordan Waldenberger coming up next. Stay with us.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's News and Talk. Connected to our community. Talk local issues and events with Joe Kelley. Use the open mic in the WDBO app and let Joe know what interests you. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
Well, as you heard a moment ago, this is a weather alert day today. That is a day in which we are all kind of sitting on the edge of our seat, prepared as broadcasters to be able to bring you the latest in the severe weather threat, because the conditions are kind of ripe, if you will, for strong to severe storms today. And I wanted to loop back in here, Channel 9 Eyewitness News meteorologist, weather scientist George Waldenberger. And George, you and I both have experience out in Tornado Alley, out in Oklahoma, covering tornadoes. And tornadoes in Florida are a completely different animal than tornadoes in the Midwest.
Yeah, they totally are. For one thing, they can happen any time of year. And unfortunately, any time of day or night. And the problem with that is there's a chance for tornadoes right now, and it will continue overnight while you're sleeping tonight all the way through tomorrow morning's drive.
And these tornadoes can suddenly drop down and pull back up in a moment's notice. I mean, they're not long track tornadoes because we don't have a long peninsula in which to track them. I mean, they usually move, as you all know, from west to east, and there's just not a whole lot of room for them to develop into these monster tornadoes, but they can certainly be destructive.
I've seen many storm reports of tornadoes, official tornado storm reports, where the tornado was on the ground here 1 minute.
Yeah.
2 minutes but it doesn't take long to create damage. So that's the problem. When they're on the ground only 1 to 2 minutes, it's very hard to pinpoint that warning. So we try to get ahead of them. That's why we have radar indicated tornado warnings. So they can encompass any tornado that's active or one that may happen at any moment.
Now, I know from a listener's point of view, and for laymen like myself, these storms today look very much like our garden variety afternoon sea breeze storms here this time of year and this part of the country, but these are not garden variety sea breeze storms.
Yeah, they're kind of erratic moving. They're very slow moving thunderstorms. There's rotation, with at least a little bit of rotation with most of these storms that form on their own. In other words, some of these discrete storms that are all by themselves. We've seen multiple rotating storms. We've had 2 tornado warnings so far. One was Sumter County, and the other one was Orange into Brevard County. And we're watching for this potential for more of these to develop.
And I know that you could really get deep into the weeds scientifically about what is feeding this system, what is causing this environment right now. But you're also brilliant at breaking it down for those of us laymen. Explain to us why this is different than the normal storms we get in the afternoons.
Yeah, thank you. Normally, as you were saying before, sea breeze thunderstorms, basically just about any time it rains in the summertime, it's initiated by our sea breeze. But this is different in that we have a warm front. The same front that moved in as a cold front a few days ago and gave us that beautiful weather, well, it stopped to the south of us. It became a stationary front, and now it's lifting back to the north as a warm front, so the opposite direction, and it's pulling the warm and humid air. So you probably noticed that today it was a lot more humid than it was the last few days. Not only that, it felt warmer as well. And so that is just the different air mass behind the warm front moving in, that warmer, more humid air moving into Central Florida. And of course, that juicy environment creates fuel for thunderstorms, and then the wind shift along the warm front can rotate the thunderstorms, which is what we'll be watching for.
We're talking to Channel 9 Eyewitness News meteorologist George Waldenberger. George, can you kind of walk us through the forecast for the rest of the night tonight and overnight into tomorrow?
Absolutely. So we'll continue with these scattered thunderstorms. It'll be kind of hit or miss heavy rains, and this will continue through dinner time as you're getting ready for bed tonight. Areas of heavy rain, still the potential for a tornado warning as you're going to bed tonight, and then overnight through tomorrow morning while you're sleeping. We're going to watch things closely. We're going to have meteorologists here at Channel 9 in case we get any tornado warnings. So if you're sleeping and your phone sends an alert and it startles you in the middle of the night, you know that you can turn on either Channel 9 or you can turn on WDBO, because you guys will be simulcasting, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. And then, so we will let you know where any storms are, and then we'll help you kind of, wake up if you do get any tornado warnings and walk you through what to expect, how to keep safe, in a very calm, slow manner. Because those in the middle of the night, as we were talking before, they can be kind of an alarming.
And when will we be in the clear by tomorrow?
So tomorrow morning, there's still a chance for thunderstorms and still a risk for tornado warnings. So we'll keep that risk for strong storms through the morning tomorrow. This is kind of a long-lasting event, Joe. And then even into the afternoon tomorrow, I'm going hour by hour, and it looks like we have more storms possible through the afternoon tomorrow. So we're just getting started with what's going to be kind of a long-term thunderstorm pattern, and then hopefully tomorrow night things begin to settle down.
All right, Channel 9 Eyewitness News meteorologist, weather scientist George Waldenberger. George, we will see on the TV a little bit later tonight.
Wonderful.
And as the situations warrant, of course, you guys will interrupt our regular programming, and if need be, and we can count on that. And of course, we'll count on you guys being on WDBO throughout the night tonight as well as conditions warrant. George, as always, thank you so much, bud.
Thanks for having us on. It's really great to just make sure everybody knows that we have this chance for strong storms tonight.
Good to know. Thank you very much. We got some open mics here about our television choices.
Hey, Joe, I just got to tell you, I've watched every episode of The Chosen probably 3 or 4 times each. It just keeps getting better and better, and it's really wonderful. You're going to love it. I'm glad you're watching it, and I'm glad you're mentioning it. Such a joy. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
I'm only on the 4th episode of season 1 right now, and honestly, I thought there could only be one season because I mean the story of Jesus Christ is complete. I mean his work is complete, and I don't know how season 1. I just assumed that season 1 ended with his crucifixion and resurrection. I'm getting the sense now that is not the case. Don't tell me. Do not tell me how it ends. And then, Laurel, you were telling me about a completely different version of a story of Jesus Christ, which I just watched during the break there a few moments ago on TikTok.
Yeah, so somebody, either out of the want to spread the word or out of fun or both, has created something called Gen Z Bible stories. And so they're taking well-known stories, condensing it into 30 seconds, the angel coming to Mary, telling her she'll bear Jesus, or the burning bush. But they use all Gen Z slang. So they say stuff like no cap, or she's in her motherhood era, and at first I was like, this is stupid because I don't like this slang. But the more I watch it, the more it's fun and creative, and I'm sending them to my 14-year-old, and it's annoying her but entertaining her at the same time. So people should look that up. Gen Z Bible stories.
So Mary was told she would bear a child, and her first words were, "Oh snap! That is whack."
Right?
Is that what's going to be written?
Kind of. That's old. That's old slang now, though. Paul,
Okay,
you're talking millennial slang.
I'm an old guy.
Yeah, this is Gen Z slang. They say a whole new different level of things.
Well, and I'm in this Bible study right now. We're studying Hebrews, as I mentioned, and I'm struggling. I mean, Hebrews is a very difficult book of the Bible to read and to understand. And one of the many, many different versions of Bibles that are available is the Message. And the Message is kind of like what you're talking about with, a Gen Z version. The Message is more about storytelling than it is actual scripture. So it's not a direct interpretation, but I keep referring back to the Message because I usually read the ESV version, which at the moment I can't think what that stands for. The ESV, it's English Standard Version, but I will sometimes switch over to the Message version just so I can better understand what I just read in Hebrews in the ESV version. Shoo, it can be difficult to understand at times. That's for sure. All right, it's the Joe Kelley Show. We will continue coming up. Stay with us.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Insightful.
You tell the truth from your point of view.
Entertaining.
Man, that guy is a lot taller than he sounds on the radio.
And engaging.
When we hear you on the radio, it's a good thing.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
By the way, we had that story earlier tonight about the shooting at the Publix parking lot down in Celebration. And a 17-year-old kid was shot, and the 17-year-old is not cooperating with the Osceola County deputies. He's not, coughing up a name of who shot him, even though evidently he does know who shot him. My buddy Scott sent me a text message, and he says, "Hey, Joe, can they arrest the 17-year-old for aiding and abetting a crime?" That's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, I would say first and foremost, the 17-year-old is a victim, so you'd have to be careful with, charging a victim with a crime, and then you got to think what the consequences could be for something like that. I guess my fear would be that if a victim of a crime knew that if they didn't snitch, if they didn't cooperate with the authorities, that they could be charged with a crime themselves. I feel in that scenario that would encourage then 17-year-olds like that one to not even call the police when there's a crime, and to flee a crime scene, before the police get there if he is going to be treated like a criminal as well. So I get where you're coming from, and I certainly get the frustration. I mean, that is so aggravating that, there's a crime victim and he is not cooperating with the very people who want to, bring to justice the person who victimized you. The no snitch culture has gone on for a very long time, and I suspect it will continue to go on for a very long time ahead. Make sure you're keeping your radios on throughout the night. Make sure you've got your download the WDBO app. Turn on your app notifications for any severe weather overnight tonight and into tomorrow. Of course, you'll be able to hear live weather updates beginning at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning on Orlando's Morning News with Scott and Ez. Have a great and safe night tonight, everybody.